Welcome back, Sebastian here. So, just finished watching the Austrian Grand Prix qualifying session. A little bit delayed, but that's okay. And reality is, I think, if I had to sum up that session in one word, or in two words, I guess, it would be track limits. So let's get started right away. So right from the start, there's track limits issues already. Hulkenberg gets his lap deleted. And because there was such limited running in practice, in free practice 1, only one practice session, drivers are right away because they know that with the track limits issue that are chronically an issue at this track, they know they have to basically go for as many laps as they can. So right away there was yellow flags as well. Bottas spun at turn 1 and he stopped as well right on the exit of turn 1. So it was a bit of a strange spin. I wasn't sure if it was an engine issue because sometimes if the engine stalls out, it can lead to a sudden spin, or it's possible it was just a mistake as well. So Verstappen went fastest, but then he got his lap time deleted. So at the point where the red flag came out, Piastri was actually P1. And many drivers didn't have a lap time on the board at this point either. So it was imperative after the red flag that these drivers got lap time on the board. Bit of a Captain Obvious thing there, but it was the truth. And the times were dropping quickly, so there was a bit of track evolution that we saw, and many of the drivers were improving, and the cutoff bar to get into Q2 was dropping quite rapidly. De Vries set a time that was good enough to get into Q2, and then it was deleted for track limits, as well as Hulkenberg, Hulkenberg, and Albon. And right before the final runs, Ocon, Sargent, and De Vries were all at risk of going out of Q1. And as it would turn out, De Vries, Magnussen, Sargent, Zhou, and Tsunoda were all out in Q1. So into Q2 we go, and the Red Bulls go 1-2 right before their lap times get deleted. But they do look quick when they're able to get on track. But they seem like it's such a fine margin getting it right in turns 9 and 10, which is where most of the track limit violations are. The Ferraris also look very good as well. They look pretty close to for the Red Bulls on one lap pace. And Albon has an amazing sector 1, very good lap time, and then it gets deleted. And then at this point, Ocon, Stroll, Piastri, and Bottas, and Perez were all at risk. And at this point, Perez is desperate. He hasn't gotten into Q3 since Miami, basically. So he's going to be absolutely desperate to get into Q3, especially with the car where it is. And then the next point, I think, is important. So there was a long delay between when some of the lap times were set and when those lap times were deleted. So I know for Russell, it was almost 2 minutes or so between when he set his lap and when they were told his lap was deleted. And you can tell on his final lap, he hadn't done a very ideal preparation for that lap because all of his sectors were yellow, which is kind of unusual at this point in the session, especially when it's dry. So he's basically was kind of screwed by that. And Perez then goes P2 again. He looks safe, and then his lap time gets deleted. And that was his fourth time in Q2 alone where his lap was deleted for track limit. So really, really rough session for him, and that was right before the end. So he did not have time to set another lap time. So at the end of Q2, and then on top of that, I think we had several drivers who basically just got their laps deleted right at the end. So as well as Piastri and Ocon. So they looked like they were going to progress, and then laps got deleted. So it ends up with Russell, Ocon, Piastri, Bottas, and Perez all out in Q2. All of the drivers were able to set a lap time on the board except for Perez. So when you look at the split time, it's like 60 seconds slower than Verstappen, which is obviously not what happened. But really rough session for Perez, and he has a lot of work to do on Sunday. So into Q3 we go. Albon and Verstappen were the first to set their first laps. But Albon gets his lap time deleted because, of course, that's what happens. But Verstappen was P1 after his first lap and was about 0.2 clear of Leclerc in P2. Stroll set a good lap as well, or actually no, Stroll set a really bad lap, and somehow it got deleted as well. Then we go, let's see. Albon then decides to run in the gap, so that gap between the first run and the second run, and he sets a really good lap, but it gets deleted again. So not great for Albon. And then final runs, Verstappen sets fastest, sector 1, PB in sector 2, so not purple sector, but still fastest personal best, and then fastest sector 3 overall to set the benchmark for the rush to chase. Leclerc is extremely close. He's only 0.048 off, so very, very close between Verstappen and Leclerc, but Verstappen is the one who is on pole for Sunday's Grand Prix. So let's go over the grid for the race. So let's see, so where should we go? Let's go from the bottom. So De Vries, P20, P19 Magnussen, P18 Sargent, P17 Zhou, 16 Tsunoda, 15th Perez. A lot of work to do, like I said, and I don't think that Red Bull is as strong as, I don't know, well, I haven't looked at the long run data, so I don't know how strong they are in that, but it does look like the other teams are closer to Red Bull this weekend. So it will be much tougher for him compared to some of the other tracks we've been on. 14th Bottas, 13th Piastri, 12th Ocon, 11th Russell, 10th Albon, 9th Gasly, 8th Hulkenberg, 7th Alonso, 6th Stroll, somehow out-qualifying Alonso, 5th Hamilton, good for him, 4th Norris, 3rd Sainz, 2nd Leclerc, and 1st for Verstappen. So really key for Ferrari to getting 2nd and 3rd on the grid. Maybe they'll be able to do something with strategy to basically force Verstappen into an less than ideal strategy, just like the Mercedes like to do all the time back when they have a very, very strong car and Verstappen was up there with them. But yeah, it's a fairly exciting grid. So of course we do this all again tomorrow morning with the sprint qualifying and the sprint. I do not know if I will be doing videos for that. I'll be busy tomorrow, so not really sure. And also with the Formula 2 as well, I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. I'm quite busy this weekend. So that's all for Formula 1 qualifying. It looks like a fairly interesting grid for tomorrow. We will definitely be looking at Paris to see how far up he can get. But that's all. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch more, please like and subscribe to the video. It really helps out. And I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.